Hello and welcome to Conscious TV. My name is Iain McNay and today we're going to talk about manic depression, bipolar disorder as it's known in America. And we've got a very special guest, Jeremy Thomas. Hi Jeremy.
Hi Ian.
And Jeremy has written a book with a friend, Dr Tony Hughes, forward by Stephen Fry, called, it's a great title, You Don't Have to Be Famous to Have Manic Depression. And this book has just been reprinted now in a paperback edition. And we're going to talk about manic depression itself, bipolar disorder, and your life and some stories. You've got some great stories about things you got up to. And I think one of the things that I really like about you, Jeremy, and I've known you a long time, but I don't know you particularly well, is you manage to maintain your sense of humour most of the time in some very difficult circumstances. But let's start anyway. Asking what actually is manic depression stroke bipolar disorder.
Okay. Well, put as simply as I can put it, manic depression is a condition of extreme moods. And it's an illness in which you experience extreme moods where you can be depressed on the one hand and elated on the other hand, and that's perhaps the understatement of the extremes. I mean, it can go to very, very serious extremes of depression,
right,
and elation leading to psychosis, delusions, and all sorts of strange behaviour.
Okay, and presumably you don't have the depression and the manic at the same time. You swing from one to the other. You're either
Largely, yes.
very depressed and want to be on your own, and then you're kind of conquering the world in your delusional state.
Yes, largely it is considered to be, the best way of describing it as a pendulum.
Right.
That it slowly, goes, exactly as a pendulum. Movement, yeah.
It swings from one to the other.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And there are people who have it's a slightly rarer condition, but you can have what's known as, rapid cycling, where you can go in the morning one way and in the afternoon the other way.
Okay.
And that, which is you can imagine, which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But if it would help, I can try and describe, the extremes, because I think they are.
Give us an example of how you used to be in terms of extremities.
Right. Well, I think the first thing to say is that a lot of people think, we made a joke in the book that a lot of people think they know everything about all these psychological terms, and they go, oh yeah, manic depression, that means being very depressed. Which it can mean being extremely depressed and all the other things we've mentioned. But the depression is not like an everyday depression of sort of feeling, down in the dumps. I think it's something that's a gradual thing that takes over, and it almost has a physicality about it, where you become sluggish, lethargic, indecisive is a very strong characteristic of that thing, where you can't decide, am I having a tea or am I having a coffee? I don't know. I'll get back to you. And where one of the key things is sleep, where your sleep progressively gets worse and worse. And very often you're waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning. And you could say, well, I've done all that. And in a way, what manic depression is a massive magnification of what most normal people go through. On the depressive side, really what happens is that you are gradually consumed by feelings of uselessness, hopelessness, and that everything everything that you see is negative. You think, oh no, that's never going to work. This is just going to be a waste of time. No, there's no point. There's no point even getting out now because I'll miss the bus. And even if I go to the bus stop, the bus will be full. And all that old thing that we've heard in the past, is the glass half full or is it half empty? Well, it is definitely half empty. And, I think untreated, and I think this is the key, in my case, when it happened to me, for the first time that I was aware of, it really got quite serious. To the point where I couldn't function at all. I was very lucky. I had a partner in business who was just very sympathetic in a way, really. And he thought, well, I don't know, you're fed up about something, don't worry about it. And I was just staring at a wall all day, literally, hiding in my office, I remember speaking to a psychiatrist, quite an eminent psychiatrist, and I said, does this only happen to certain sorts of people? And he said that, I'm sure I'm not being indiscreet, he said that he'd had a patient who'd been the general manager of Ford Europe, a huge concern, who was unable, he had this, and he was unable to do anything else but burst into tears at his desk. So it's a very strange state, all that ultimately leads, if untreated, can lead to suicidal thoughts and indeed suicide. That's the one extreme. Leading to the other extreme, it is completely different. And mania it's almost like it's almost like a sort of washing machine. It has certain spin cycles. That you can start off by being quite chirpy, quite energetic, quite enthusiastic. So everyone around you is going, oh great, the old Jeremy's back, oh fantastic, And then it starts going a little bit faster.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries somehow.
Yes. And, one of the characteristics of being manic is disinhibition. Yeah. So you think, hang on, isn't that Margaret Thatcher over there? Oh, I'll just go and ask her, hi, what was it like, And you wouldn't think anything of doing that. So that's one thing, but basically you start when you're depressed, you can't really think of anything at all. It's all over. When you're going manic, you can think of a lot of things. Yeah. And it becomes many, many, many ideas, many, many schemes.
So you're really creative in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you want to follow them all at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got lots of schemes. I'm going to set up that company, this company, and that company. Yeah. Those 3 companies will be taking over those 8 companies. And it's all in many ways quite rational. Except none of it gets thought through.
Yeah.
And it's very entertaining for a while, because you're fun and you're very, very confident. Yeah. Super confident. And then there's then there are sort of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 further stages.
Okay.